Hi there. Which are the best SACCOs which you can save with in Kenya? That's what I want to talk about in this video. The best SACCOs which you can save with in Kenya and then end up, for example, accessing awesome loans at low interest which can assist you develop in life or business. Guys, I'm going to look at this issue critically because when it comes to SACCOs, I think about it in two ways. Before you make a decision of your saving, you need to balance multiple things. For example, potential for high return on savings versus the asset base of a SACCO. Because also you want to jump or join a SACCO which has something to lose. So how do you balance between high returns versus joining a SACCO with high asset base? Let's talk about that in this video. You are all much welcomed to the Money Daily TV. My name is Afaga Sifunam. By the way, if you are new here, subscribe to this channel because I'm out here making videos each and every day on personal finance, investing, and how best you can get the best of financial deals out here. Thanks for subscribing and also dropping a like on this video. Having said that, let's first of all look at SACCOs, which maybe over the past 1 year have been able to rake in high returns. And then we can also look at SACCOs which have high asset base. In other words, they have very huge investments that it is very difficult for them to pull out, or even so difficult for them to fail. Let's start with the SACCOs which have made high return over the past 1 year. Among these SACCOs, guys, we have Tower SACCO, which made a dividend return of about 20% over the past 1 year, and even so its interest on deposits was 13%. Quite high. On an average, this SACCO has property or asset base of about 28 billion. Okay, it is among the highest paying SACCOs in Kenya, but I'm not saying it is the best really, because at the end you need to combine all the factors I'm going to discuss for you to decide. Another SACCO which made quite a high dividend last year payout and even so high interest was Port SACCO, which had a dividend of 20% and an interest of about 12.5%, and then it has an asset base of about 10.5 billion shillings. Another SACCO is Nyati SACCO. Nyati SACCO had a dividend percentage of 21% and its interest is 11.3%. And of course, Nyati SACCO is among the SACCOs which has quite a huge asset base and membership, because it has members upwards of 30k who are members of this particular SACCO, and its asset base is about 4.7 billion shillings. And then another SACCO which also had quite a high dividend and also an interesting interest rate was All-in SACCO, whose dividend was 17.5% and interest is 12.2%. Another SACCO is Winner SACCO. I'm pretty sure you've heard about Winner SACCO. Winner SACCO had a dividend of 16.5% and then interest of 12.5% and asset base of about 14.4 billion Kenya shillings. Of course, all these SACCOs, you can tell that, for example, their interest was much lower compared to interest of commercial banks, and even so they paid quite a good dividend out there over the past 1 year. Of course, this was driven by multiple factors out there: members' contributions, investments made by this SACCO, etc. At the end of the day, these are just some of the SACCOs which paid highly over the past 1 year, but I know I can go on and on this list to even list upwards of 100 SACCOs. At the end, it is you to decide. And of course, as I said, you combine potential for high interest, like for example, high dividend payout, low interest in case you're borrowing, and also the SACCO's asset base. And now talking about asset base, which are some of the largest SACCOs in Kenya, and also SACCOs which have digital presence or value options of engaging in these SACCOs digitally. Number one on the list, we have Stima SACCO. Guys, Stima SACCO is quite an interesting SACCO because it had quite a good dividend payout last year of about 14%. Its interest was also quite low at 11%, and then it has asset base of 53 billion. Of course, Stima SACCO is a SACCO whose main focus is the energy sector because it draws most of its membership from, for example, Kenya Power, Kengen, and actors in the energy space. And of course, over time, is going to expand to also include other key players in the economy. And then the second SACCO, which also has a very huge asset base, is Mwalimu National SACCO. Of course, we all have heard about Mwalimu National SACCO, and it is a SACCO dominantly for teachers. Most of the teachers out there are part of Mwalimu SACCO. And of course, Mwalimu SACCO, in for example 2023, had a dividend payout of 12% and also had a favorable interest rate. And it has an asset base upwards of 64 billion Kenya shillings. Another SACCO out there, which is also big in the country, is Kenya Police Deposit Taking SACCO. Basically, Kenya Police DT SACCO. This SACCO had a dividend payout of somewhere between 11 to 15% over the past 1 year, and also had a low interest rate at 11%. And when it comes to asset base, the SACCO has assets upwards of 54 billion Kenya shilling. Another big SACCO out there is United SACCO. United SACCO average interest on borrowings, etc., and even savings is 10%. And of course, United SACCO is very huge because it pulls from SMEs out there, small businesses with mobile banking, and actually avails you the option of digitally engaging with them. And then the last SACCO which I want to talk about is, for example, Safaricom SACCO, Harambee SACCO. All these are also amazing SACCOs with very huge interest rate and membership too. That tells you that these SACCOs have been tested over time and they have very huge asset base and membership, making it quite a big challenge for them to fail all of a sudden. And even so, in case they're going to fail at a particular point in time, it's going to be gradual with very good signaling to the members out there. So I think at the end of the day, it is a matter of you balancing between what you want to get from a SACCO, of course, you accessing grantors within that particular SACCO, you balancing between potential for high interest, high earnings, high dividends, you name it, and also balancing the asset base. And of course, having said that, how do you go about choosing the right SACCO? Starting point is for you to do soul searching. First and foremost, why are you joining a SACCO? What is the purpose? What is the intention? What is the aim of you joining a SACCO? Are you joining a SACCO, for example, to invest? Are you joining a SACCO, for example, to borrow? All these are going to really assist you shape which SACCO you're joining. For example, if you're looking to save, chances are you want a high interest rate on your saving. Maybe those SACCOs which are proven to have a high rate on savings are the ones which would look to jump onto. Or for example, are you looking to join a SACCO so that over a given number of months, once you meet the minimum qualifications around the threshold of deposits, you having guarantors and you having been a member of a SACCO, you can borrow. If the aim is borrowing, then you need to join a SACCO which is favorable when it comes to you borrowing, having a good number of maybe guarantees out there, and also those SACCOs which can assist you get loan or lend you money at very favorable rate. So the purpose with which you are joining a SACCO is going to dictate which SACCO you should join. Okay? And then secondly, eligibility is going to also play a huge role in the SACCO which you intend to join. For example, are you a member of a specific sector? Because there are SACCOs out there which are open and others target specific membership. For example, Mwalimu SACCO, Stima SACCO, these are SACCO which target specific membership. You need to be working, for example, in the education sector, be a member of the TSC, maybe you need to be working in the energy sector, you name it. So you could look to join, for example, open SACCOs, or even so, those SACCOs which are looking for specific membership in case you belong to a given sector. And then the third thing to consider is digital asset. Do you prefer the ability to trade or even so partake in the SACCO remotely, or do you want to go the traditional way of visiting the SACCO office, going there physically most of the times? Depending on the kind of mode you want to operate, that's going to dictate the SACCO you join, because SACCOs out there vary when it comes to them being digitally friendly. There are those which are very digitally friendly, even you can join remotely, send them documents, you name it. And there are others which require for you to go to their offices physically to partake in their business. So depending on what you're looking at, that is going to determine the SACCO which you're going to join. And then the last thing which you could also consider is the social circle which you are in. Because when it's all said and done, chances are it is your friends, it is your colleagues who you are close to, who might end up being your guarantees in case you want to take a loan. Okay? So also considering your social circle, that is going to shape which circle you join in. And then guys, lastly, a bonus tip for you, which cross-cuts all this. In any investments out there, in any corporate out there, and that also goes for SACCO, corporate governance is very key. How is the SACCO behaving? Do you think, for example, the SACCO has hired professionals to do their business or to run the SACCO? Do you think, for example, the SACCO is very responsive with regards to responding to members' queries? Do you think, for example, the SACCO is anchored in the appropriate ethics? All these dynamics around corporate governance can also assist you shape which SACCO you join. Guys, what do you think about this video? Do you think the insights I've shared with you are useful? Do you think the insights around those SACCOs which paid very high interest on savings, which had favorable borrowing rates, or even so, the insights around the SACCO's capital asset base, and also how you could go about deciding a SACCO, do you find these insights useful? Are there other insights out there which you think are very critical? Share down below in the comment section. Let's continue discussing. Cheers, guys, and you all stay safe.